Singapore has a very successful economy, but it gets a bad press. The government is highly authoritarian, with restrictions on freedom of speech, hanging for drug trafficking, and severe penalties, though short of hanging, for such things as chewing gum and crossing the street where you're not supposed to. Car ownership is repressed by penal taxes. But I was very impressed. So orderly, so cared for, so beautiful. No litter, no graffiti, safe. And people are nice to you. The Singapore MRT, Mass Rapid Transport, puts the London Underground to shame. The airport too, where we are now, is calm and beautiful, a world away from the muddled squalor of Heathrow. Of course we've been in Singapore for only about 15 hours, deducting the time spent asleep. After 15 days, or 15 years, one might think differently. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Hoi An was an important port. Chinese, Japanese and other traders settled here and have left their mark. But then the port silted up and the town fell asleep. It has a population of around 85,000, perhaps a quarter are descendants of Chinese settlers. The old part of the town, which attracts the tourists, is quite small, and what you see there now is mainly 19th century. Assembly halls were and are social and religious centres for the different Chinese communities. Hoi An is renowned for its silks and for its tailors, who will run you up a suit or dress at a fraction of the cost back home in 24 hours or less. Tan Kee is one of the original Chinese merchants' houses, narrow but deep, with a central courtyard and backing onto the river, but is now regularly flooded each autumn, with 2 metres of floodwater in the main living room. We were encouraged to visit this and contribute something, an Australian-run home for disadvantaged children who have missed out on support by their extended family. Judy's instant comment on this banner: "Intrepid groups, a contradiction in terms." Rubbish seemed to be collected daily. The tune played by the dust cart is an abiding memory of Hoi An. Growing miniature orange trees in pots appears to be the business of this village. The Tet, the Vietnamese New Year, is coming soon, and every house must have one. Cycling through a village, children will rush towards you, grasp the handlebars if they can, and try out their English. Hello, what's your name? Where you come from? How old are you? How many children do you have? I wish I'd brought a large supply of ballpoints, the one thing that would have made their day. Palm fronds are cut and dried, then used for thatch, originally for the roofs and walls of houses, now mostly for sheds and, of course, sun shelters on the beach. There are lots of small temples dotted around the countryside. They are for ancestor worship, one temple per family. It's believed that the dead who live on can bring the family good fortune or ill, depending on how they are treated. Usually there's one day a year when the whole extended family gathers to make offerings, bang drums, play discordant music and have a feast. We stumbled on two of these events. We got lost in the outskirts of the town. The girl on the scooter went far out of her way to guide us through. The kingdom of Champa, inhabited by the Chams, a distinct racial group, flourished for more than 1,000 years in central Vietnam and parts of the south. Their culture and religion derived originally from India, but from the 15th century they went into a decline after defeat by Vietnamese coming from the north. What remains today is a handful of ruined Cham sites, of towers and sanctuaries, one of which we'll be seeing later, and Cham sculpture, much of it in this museum. My Son, I think that's how it's pronounced more or less, is the best known Cham site, with some 25 remaining sanctuaries and towers. It's in a remote mountain valley, surrounded by jungle and landmines. You're warned not to step off the path. The music doesn't sound antique, and the dancing may or may not be authentic, I wouldn't know, but it's done with great style. They're not really mountains, more of a hill. It took only minutes to walk up the highest. At the bottom of the mountains, statue making on a big scale. You're quoted a price delivered to your door. Quarrying on the mountain is no longer allowed, so the marble and limestone has to be brought in from elsewhere. We then set off for a remote beach for lunch and swimming. On the way we stopped for snorkelling. There's said to be coral, but visibility is poor and nothing worth seeing. Interest quickly switches from snorkelling to jumping into the sea. Hui was the home of the Nian lords, a feudal dynasty. In 1802, Emperor Ya Long established control over the whole of Vietnam and made Hue the national capital, which it remained until 1945. The city has a vast walled citadel, and within that the imperial city, with palaces, temples and gardens for the emperor, his family, retinue and concubines. Construction started in 1805, so everything you see is 19th century. Much of the imperial city was pounded to dust during the Tet Offensive of 1968, mostly by American bombing, but some parts escaped and much restoration has been done. How to cross a road in Vietnam. Watch the technique of the woman in the conical hat laden with bags as she takes a diagonal route across this busy crossroads. You also come to Hue to see at least some of the royal mausoleums, built outside the city in the valley of the Perfume River. It could take years to find the right harmonious site for a mausoleum, and then lakes, hills and gardens had to be created, along with an extensive range of buildings. Work on the mausoleum of Emperor Tu Duc started about 20 years before he died, and was used by him as a place of rest and entertainment for some 16 years. He was a poet but a weak ruler, with 104 wives, countless concubines, no children. In order to keep secret where the body was eventually buried, all the 200 servants involved in the burial were beheaded. We came across this working elephant. Actually, I'm not sure it is doing any useful work, but at least you can see that it's alive. Court officials took 14 years to find the right site for this mausoleum, and it was then 3 years in the building, using 10,000 workmen. Its lakes and gardens are considered the most beautiful of all the mausoleums. Emperor Ming Mang was a stronger ruler than Tu Duc, with 33 wives, 107 concubines, and 140 children. You may have had enough of pagodas, so I'll keep this one brief. It's just to the north of Hoi An and dates from the 17th century.
Recognisable. And I see the river inside. That's fun. Oh, different, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's quite stylish, yeah. It's not you left doing them in small anyway.
The idea was that Min Nam would write our names. I gave mine as Riverside, a nice name, he commented. I felt rather guilty.
Hard work. Bên đây mình nhắm thôi.
Vase for flowers, good flowers.
Yeah, no, they haven't.
On the flight home from Da Nang, the plane put down at Siem Reap, the airport for Angkor Wat. Small and pretty and un-airport-like, we instantly decided that we had to go back there. Judy wants to spend more time at the airport shop. We both want to see Angkor Wat.